Hi guys, it's Amy with Rogue Upholstery, here today with a tutorial video on doing these bar stool seats. There's some various pro tips that you'll find throughout the video to kind of help you if you want to jump into doing this kind of project yourself. These are 3 bar stool seats that a customer brought to us. We had actually done them about 4 years ago. The vinyl had given out, and so because we had helped pick that original fabric, we are redoing this job at no cost to the customer because we want to make sure that our work is done with integrity. We guarantee our work, we stand behind it, and we want to fix whatever goes wrong. We're gonna get to work, and thanks so much for joining me today. When you're going to take staples out of something, there's different tools that you can use. In this case, I have this C.S. Osborne staple lifter, and obviously their pointed teeth are made to go underneath the staple, and then you have this curved edge here that you use as kind of a pivot point to lift your staples up. But I just want to show you what not to do. You never want to have your hand in the line of fire in the direction that you are putting force to take staples out. Oop. Another potential hazard to watch out for are what we call pokies here in our shop. And if you can see there, that is a broken staple. And sometimes the tack lifter is able to pull the entire staple out. Sometimes it just pulls one side of the staple, and then you go in with pliers to pull the rest of it out. Sometimes they just break off like this. And obviously with the camera up close like this, you can see it. But most of the time when you're working on something, you may not necessarily see that there is a pokey sticking out. And if you go to run your hand across that, you are definitely going to cut yourself. Staples are very sharp. And I actually keep a package of Band-Aids in the drawer of my toolbox just for that reason, because sometimes you get cut by a pokey, sometimes you get stabbed with the staple lifter if you're not careful. Even professionals can do dumb things like that, getting our hands in the way of our work. And so we always keep Band-Aids on hand. But that's just a little pro tip for you. If you're pulling staples out of something, just make sure to very gently run your hand over where you've been pulling staples so that you can feel them carefully, and then just take a little hammer and tack that in. Or you can use your pliers to pull it. In this case, it might be, oh, got it. Ta-da! Sometimes they're so short that even pliers can't pull them out, so you just take a hammer and whack it back in. So just be really careful when you're pulling staples. Lots of opportunities for injuries. One of the things that I need to do is actually drill holes in the seat. I'll show you. You saw where I just took the staples off of the back, and I took the foam and the Dacron off of the top. But you can see there's no holes in this seat. And the reason why that is a problem is because these seats are going to be covered with vinyl. Vinyl is not breathable. It's basically a layer of plastic over your seat. So when you have a foam seat that you're sitting on that's covered in vinyl, there's nowhere for that air to go except to be forcefully pushed out through whatever gaps might be around the edge of your seat. Otherwise, if you have holes in the bottom, then that air can then escape through the holes in the wooden platform on the seat. You don't need a lot of holes, just 2. I have a 1/2-inch drill that I'm going to use to drill the holes. That way, when you sit down, you don't hear this, you know, like air escaping, almost a whoopee cushion effect. That actually would be funny. So I'm going to work on getting the holes drilled in these seats and then get the foam and Dacron on, and then I can show you the vinyl process. Couple of pro tips for you when it comes to cutting foam for seats. Anytime that you want to attempt to redo the seats on your dining chairs, or if you've got some bar stools that need to have some work done, when you cut your foam, make sure you cut your foam a 1/2 inch bigger than the seat. It's very important to do that. And the reason for that is when you begin to stretch fabric or vinyl over foam, the stretching will cause compression of the foam, and once compression starts to happen, it actually will kind of pull in the edges of your foam a little bit. And if you've only cut your foam to the size of the seat, then when it starts to compress, it'll actually pull in and expose the edge of the wood platform on your seat, and you can feel it and see it through your fabric or your vinyl. So cutting the foam a 1/2 inch bigger will then shape the foam over the edge of that wooden platform, and it'll give you a nice professional finish to the edge of your seats. Another pro tip for you when you're replacing foam in a seat: you always want to glue down a layer of Dacron on top of your foam before you put your fabric on, for a couple of reasons. That Dacron will add a nice softness to the top of your foam rather than just feeling the flat surface underneath your fabric, but also it creates a friction barrier. Every time that you sit down on a seat, that sitting can create friction between your fabric and your foam. The foam can actually begin to break down the fibers on the underside of your fabric, can shorten the lifespan of your fabric. So having the Dacron on your foam is just a really good idea to protect your investment when you're replacing the foam inside your seats. When you are applying the Dacron to the top of your foam, you want to cut it a 1/2 inch bigger than your foam, just like cutting your foam a 1/2 inch bigger than the wooden platform. And the reason for that is the Dacron is going to help smooth over this sharp edge of your foam, just like the foam smooths over the sharp edge of the wood platform. So it just creates a nice shape around the edge of your seat. But what these are the screw holes for the seats. And it's just easier to line up the original screw holes. So what I do is I use a regulator. I kind of feel around where the hole is, or if I haven't stapled this down yet, I can look underneath there and I can mark, kind of puncture a hole through the dust cover with the regulator, and then mark that hole with chalk. And that way when I turn the chair upside down, I can line up the screw holes and easily screw them in. It's always a good idea before putting screws into a dust cover to pre-puncture the holes. The dust cover is pretty thin, and if you just go to screw in without an existing hole, sometimes that screw will catch the dust cover and twist it. You've probably seen that. Do that with fabric. You never want to have Dacron in the way of where you're going to be screwing in, because Dacron is the worst, can get really tangled up around a screw as you're trying to screw it in, and it just makes a big mess. And so it's better to have an existing hole when you go to screw it in. That way that screw just goes in really nice and easy, and you can secure down the seat, which is what I'm going to do, and I'll show you the finished result here in just a minute. Okay, here's the finished stool. You can see the headboard in the background. I'll be getting back to that probably, in a few days. But there's the stool. When you saw me working with the heat gun earlier, that then helps this vinyl stretch really nice over the edge of the seat. I'm going to do the other two seats off camera, and I will come back and check in with you after that. Well, folks, I've got some finished bar stool seats behind me. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us on this journey. I want to encourage you to like this video, to subscribe to our channel. Feel free to share any of our videos. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Your Dacron's going to smooth over the edge of your that can so when you cut the so that the, did I say that right? What did I say? I don't